My name is Becca Bors. I'm definitely a and I love it.
My name is Stephen Credelli. I'm an SGA senator, and I'm also the SGA Free Campus Policy Liaison to Students. I am a non-***er.
My name is Heather Lemaire. I'm a non-***er.
My name is Molly Sisson. I am a non-***er.
Emily. I'm an RA. I'm a non-***er.
My name is Patrick Yarger. I am a ***er. I get no ***ing inside. I get that. You're an enclosed, confined area. Gets captured. I mean, I get that. I understand that. Completely agree with it. But outside, you're outside. Rises. It's not like, you're confined in that area of indoors. It's completely different. I mean, I do believe there should be designated areas.
I think I might have been okay with the idea of, say, areas.
I think the school probably should have made more designated areas, or possibly even enforce the staying away from the doors, like the 30 feet rule or whatever. Just enforce that more.
I'm totally for the ban. I have no idea how they could actually enforce the rule unless they maybe create a designated area somewhere on campus.
I am definitely, I'm against the ban. I think we can reach a compromise instead of just making the whole campus non-***ing.
I'm completely against that. It's ridiculous because so many people on campus, and I feel like it's just going to promote more on-campus students to in their rooms.
I think at this point in time, whether or not I'd be for or against it does make a difference because the policy is going into effect in August, so.
How can you force thousands of people to quit smoking? You can't do that. But you can give options for and provide help to them, to those who might want to quit, or and give them a place where they can go.
Some people are asking if there's going to be designated areas. There's not going to be designated areas.
I just don't get this whole thing you can't outside anymore. Why not? Then where the hell else am I supposed to go? You already banned it from indoors. Where am I supposed to go?
I kind of feel like they maybe just didn't want to put in the effort into, maybe it was financial, maybe they don't want to build areas, maybe they don't want to put effort into enforcing that. Maybe it's just easier for them, to say all campus-wide, we're doing this.
A few years ago, the 30-foot rule was implemented, and it wasn't working out, so they reevaluated what was going to be happening, and the thing they came up with was a free campus, because other universities and colleges across the nation have done it successfully.
At my old school in Montgomery College, they did a ban, and it was really nice just being able to walk through a building and there's not crowds of people blocking the doorways, and there's not all over the place, and you don't smell it inside the foyer or outside.
When walking to classes, I've noticed many that will walk in front of me and continue to They won't step off to the side or go to a designated area. They'll just, be rushing to class. I'll be rushing to class too. There's a herd of people trying to go to class as well, and you can't avoid it. And I prefer not to walk with having blown in my face.
I hate smelling Usually the thought that comes across my mind when I'm walking into the building past a bunch of is I want to take the cigarette and I want to shove it down their throat because it's just so irritating.
We want the clean air for all of the students and all that. I'm sorry, that's bull. You're basically forcing people to, stop smoking. Yes, it's healthy. That is more healthy. I understand that. But again, you shouldn't be pushing your views on all the other here at Towson.
I know that a lot of people say that they try and be considerate, but think about the fact that other people who don't choose not to for a reason. And the fact that you walk down paths and stand in front of buildings creating clouds of in our faces, it's not as considerate as some people think they try to be.
With people like me, especially on Wednesdays, I am in class literally from 12:30 to 9:30 non-stop with only 10-minute break in between.
I'm not going to go walk down to Towson Down Boulevard or to York Road to go a cigarette. That's not going to happen.
It's not realistic for me to run all the way down to York Road just to a cigarette and then run back to be in time for class.
If they found maybe a few areas around campus, a little set away from buildings and where people congregate, and said, this is where people can go to as long as you don't leave trash laying around everywhere, don't litter the place with butts, then I think that might have worked. Well, I kind of feel like they really didn't try to enforce the 30-foot rule as much as they could have.
All in all, no, I probably haven't followed the 30 feet rule. When I go outside and, I'll see, a group of 5 sitting, not, standing in front of the door. I mean, we're at least 15, 20 feet away. I mean, I don't know. I don't carry a ruler with me. So, I'm sorry, it's hard for me to guesstimate 30 feet.
Where I live, there's, 2 benches that are within 10 feet of the building, so I want to sit on the bench and smoke a cigarette. Maybe they should move the benches further away. I mean, most of the time I'm away from the doors and there's not an issue, but I don't see anybody else, listening.
Well, I'm an RA, and I am held accountable to enforce that policy when I see it. There could have been more done with the current plan that we have.
Part of the 30-foot policy is about mutual respect and cooperation. Students did not stand 30 feet from the building. They chose to stand closer. And yes, the administration could have taken a harsher stance, maybe, and they could have tried to enforce it. But if you look at where the students are right now, the students aren't respecting the current policy.
You need to 30 feet away. Just regulating that is difficult. How can they regulate no period? It's going to be pretty difficult.
If they had enforced it before, then maybe they could have found that people would be a little more conscious about the people around them, and maybe they'd find a better place to stand and I don't know how they're going to really enforce it this time.
The policy will be enforced through a fine similar to a fine you receive through parking services. Safe Management is going to be the ones who are enforcing it.
This ban has gotten so much press and it's so controversial. And I kind of feel like it's like the school's baby project. They really want this to work. I kind of get the feeling they'll at least try and put a lot of effort into enforcing it.
Honestly, I don't think anybody's going to be following this policy anyway. I mean, if you're a you're going to find a place to go off to and hide and go on campus. I mean, it's not realistic.
There'll be heavier enforcement towards the beginning of the semester in the fall, and then hopefully once people realize that the policy is happening, we won't need such heavy enforcement. And if they do catch you then they can fine you, and your fine will go through parking services, and you can appeal it just like you can a regular fine if you want to.
Honestly, yeah, I mean, I'll probably find a secluded spot that nobody, I don't see a lot of people around, kind of hide the cigarette in my hand and just kind of take a few drags off of it. And I mean, yeah, I'll probably on campus.
How many times is a cop going to stop you and say, all right, you need to put your cigarette out, and here's a $50 ticket for it? There's so many on campus, and there's only but so many officers that can enforce it. How are they going to keep track of everything anyways?
Well, in terms of the security that's specifically enforcing this policy against safe management, so there'll still be, UPD's not focusing on this because they're not the ones who are enforcing it, it's safe management. So there'll be more safe management people around campus than there normally are, because usually you just see them at specific events or sporting events. You'll see them more so actually out on the campus.
They could have done a much better job than just making it so irrational and harder for and then they're saying, oh, well, you don't have to if you want to you can go to this place, to the health clinic, and they'll help you quit. It's like, all right, that's cool and all, but you're basically forcing me to quit.
I think that it would be great if those that do would be healthier about it, because there are some that are really hurting their lifestyles, but I mean, I can't make that decision for them. It's up to every person individually and what they want to do with their lives, and it's up to them. So, I think it would have been nice to have a vote, see what the residents and the students really want, because that's what it's really all about, living together happily.
The SGA never voted either for or against the policy. We were involved in the discussions as they were writing the policy, but we never took an official stance. In order for a policy to come into effect, the University Senate has to pass it. So the University Senate passed it, it went on to the President's Council, and then President Corrett signed it in November.
People are so uppity about,
down
secondhand and all this and that, and again, I get that. Indoors, I get that, but if you're outside, you're f***ing outside.
If they try to get new students who are they're not going to want to come to a free campus, and it's not going to change anything out in the real world. Everybody else is going to too. So what's really the difference?
Trust me, we have a lot more to worry about in this world than secondhand. With everything going on and all the other environmental issues that's happening, a cigarette really isn't, on top of the priority list. It really isn't. And to these people that think that, I say, you.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens.